Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. The last video I did, I was making this. This is the Gallivanter by Sonar. It's a passport wallet. I was making this the day I was leaving on a trip internationally. I wanted a new passport wallet just because I'm like to be all matchy-matchy and it was going to match everything else I had. But I thought with this video I'd talk about not just how things went with my Gallivanter, but with the other items I made for this trip and a little bit about travel bags generally. We're entering summer. People are, I'm sure, planning trips both domestically and internationally, probably planning some bags, thinking, what can I make that would be great for some of those trips? And we could talk about that, talk about at least what I consider to be key features for any bag that I'm taking, either domestically or internationally, and show you some of those changes that I've made to them, things that you could probably consider adding to your own. So let's first start with the bags that I made for this trip, or the items I made, because this isn't exactly a bag, but it's the Gallivanter. As I mentioned, it's a passport wallet. Didn't really need a new one because I have one. Here it is. I have a Gallivanter already, which is great. It served me very well for a number of years, so I'm really quite happy with it. But I just felt it was time for a new one, and I wanted everything to match. So, and excuse me if I'm sniffling, my allergies are just hitting me hard today. But the Gallivanter is pretty basic. I mean, it's a nice size. In fact, this would be probably a nice size wallet as well if you wanted to tweak it a little bit. But it's got a snap to open up here. Inside, you've got some card slots, just a few. The fact is you really don't need many cards when you're traveling, so the few that are here are plenty. You've got a slot right here and here, so you could put your passports there, but as you can see, you could fit a passport here as well. You've got a place for notes right here, and yeah, it all comes together with a snap, and you've got a little place on the back for coins. Great little item to have, and it's super helpful. When I made this, and so you can see it's all vinyl, everything with the exception of the zipper. I think I just got this as a number 3 zipper I got off of Amazon. My tag is from Heartwood and Hyde, but basically everything else is Mormino. The snap, I am using a magnetic rivet snap, so that's from Cam Snaps, but all of my vinyl, you can see it's all Mormino. I did change this a little bit, and some of those changes now that I've used it, I'm not quite sure that I would do those necessarily again. I add a lot of bulk to when I was making this. So let's just talk about that in case you're thinking about making it. You can watch my previous video when I had just started, hadn't traveled with it yet. So first thing I did would be, if you can sort of see there, is this part right here. This is sort of the it's a long piece of vinyl in this case, which separates where you've got your pockets for your passport and the cash slot. This is normally raw backed. Hopefully you can see, I mean, it's black here. This is vinyl I put some very thin vinyl there, only because the back of this printed vinyl from Mormino is white, and I didn't want all the white there. That was fine. It did make things thicker, sewing all the way around. And so I think in the long run, I probably wouldn't necessarily do that again. And if I was bothered by the color of the back of the material I was using, I'd find a different material then. It was fine overall, but just something to consider. I mean, especially depending if you have a domestic machine, this would probably be difficult. So that was one thing. I did also use, for my card slots here, ribbon, which is what I normally use. I use a nice wide ribbon. I have some black ribbon, which I typically use. It's 2.5 inches wide. I do believe I linked that in the last video I had. For this one, I used a different ribbon. It was gray, it was a little wider, and it ended up being a little bit thicker. And so it is pretty thick here. I know Nicole in her video, she uses landscaping fabric. I believe that's what it is. And while the ribbon I used here, maybe under normal circumstances, wouldn't have been a big deal. Maybe if this was like a purse pal, I'd be happy with it. But considering I'm folding so much up, it just got thick. So I would definitely recommend here using something really thin if you can, like that landscaping fabric. I felt the ribbon that I used was a little thick there. The other thing I did, because my materials were a little thick, and I didn't think about this ahead of time, when I was doing my bottom, well, I guess all around, no, really mainly the sides and the bottom, I came in slightly more than 1/8 of an inch, not 1/4 of an inch when I was sewing this all together, but a little bit more than 1/8, so kind of in between there. And that was pushing it, because you need to have space for your passports to fit here. So let me see, I think I've got one here, hold on. We travel with a lot of passports. Here we go. So if you're putting your passport in, let me put it this way. If you're putting your passport in with just the back page like this, you're fine. you're just fine. But I don't like to travel with my passport like that. I mean, if I have to be walking around because maybe it's a travel day, so I don't have anywhere I can put my bags because we'll be going somewhere later that day, I'm going to carry everything with me. I don't like having my passport like this. I want it to be fully inside. And so you can see here, I can get it, but it's a struggle. There, got it. It's a struggle. And I think probably a little bit because of the materials I chose, but because I did come up just that smidgen higher than I should have. Let me show you on my other one, because as I said, I have traveled with this one. This one I had made, so there were only slots. There were no, for my passport, there were no card slots in here. This, as you can see, goes in much more easily. Well, helps if you could see it. It's not going to slide out, but it goes in much more easily. Even this additional one I did there. And so I think I'm pretty sure it's because I chose to do that slightly higher top stitch or stitch at the bottom. It's not quite a top stitch at the bottom to sew everything together. I was just concerned because of my thick layers, because I chose to do some of those extra things. So don't do that. Is what it boils down to, is don't do that. Don't make it higher, because you might have a problem if you wanted to slide your whole passport in. But otherwise, I mean, this is really just, it's such a nice wallet essentially to have. I was able to fit those in there fully inside, even with all this extra thickness. It's fit. I was able to snap it. This is really great. So I can't recommend this enough. Certainly, please check this out if you need something along those lines. My backpack, which I did in a video as well, was the Guardian by Lynn's Handmade. This is one of my go-tos for travel, simply because if I'm concerned about anyone getting into my bag, the fact that you open it from the back makes such a difference. If you are traveling internationally, I know I'm very fortunate to be able to travel as much as I do. I wasn't always able to do that. I'm just at a point in my life where I can do that more often now, and we do travel internationally maybe once a year. And so depending on the cities you go to, pickpocketing, it's a big deal. I mean, it's like an art form in many European cities. I just happened to watch a video, in fact, stumbled across it on YouTube. I'm going to link it below. She's Canadian, but she's lived in France for 8 years and lived in Paris, I think she said, for 6 years. She's very much a Parisian at this point, and gives tips for people who are going, things to be on the lookout for, those types of clues that you've got pickpocketers around. I remember even from my time decades ago living in France for a period that, yeah, they're just things you know. They're things you are always on the lookout for. And so your backpack, if you have a backpack with a traditional opening here, you're a target. I mean, you definitely want to try to avoid those types of things. If you have a backpack that's like that, where it opens like a normal one, so anyone who might be behind you can do it, put it on your front. I mean, you might still, if someone is really an artist at pickpocketing, they'll bump into you and they'll know how to get into that without you even knowing. So just be aware of that. But otherwise, wear it on your front. People wear slings on their front now. Wear your backpack on your front. But if you have something like this, you have some extra protection. You can still wear it on your front, but otherwise when it is on your back, they're not going to be able to get into it very easily. I put this pocket here on the front, not for anything of value, but for things like, well, I guess I have some paper towels, because you never know when you might need that. Baggie for garbage, and like my hand wipes and things like that. They're all in here. I want those to be able to grab really easily, but everything of value is on the inside. And so I can show you, I have it set here. I use these special, and I went over these, I think I did in the video. I use these special latching, I don't know how well I'll be able to see it. Let me show you, hold on. I use latching zipper pulls. And so they're like this. I did link them in that video, but I'll go find it, find the link and put it in this one as well. So they come up, they're regular zipper pulls, but they can latch like that. So you can put them together. They can hang. It's a great way to have some security. And so I use those on these. So if I were somewhere, even with it on my back, I could latch those together and feel secure. But then on the inside, I added some things. So I thought I'd tell you about the couple things I added. Many are things I normally add. Oh, you can see there's still stuff in here. Some documents that I needed. Let's see, this was when we had to return our car. And my husband we went to Budapest, so he got a map of Budapest after we had gone already. And I don't know. And then always have to have a notebook. But otherwise, oh, look, a cable. Look at all the things I find in my bag when I'm not looking. But yeah, so I always add some extra pockets here. I've got some elastic on the side. You can go check out the video. I have 2 videos actually where I talk about the things I add. But I have an elastic on the side in case I want a water bottle. Note, I don't have anything on the sides here. And then I have on this side just a mesh pocket. I don't know, you're not gonna be able to see that it's black, but it's just another place to put things. And I put a zipper pocket in the back to help collect things. Those are my normal items that I add to my Guardian. I added this strap here. It's a big wide elastic, so you can hopefully see it's on the back of this flap. I did that thinking it might be a nice way to sort of hold my tablet down, which I'm using right now so you can't see it, so I can easily get it in and out. I used it a little bit. I didn't use it that much, so I don't know that I'd add that again. But otherwise, I mean, it's a great bag. It's a great bag to use when you're traveling. So I highly recommend it. And I do like the changes that I always make to it. One thing I do also do, I did this just for fun. You don't really need to do that. You can have, the pattern has you sew it right in. I did move my straps over. So if you didn't see that video, I moved it over just because I find they sometimes slide off my shoulders. So rather than being under the handle here, I moved them over, sewed them down, and then I riveted them in place as well through, let's see if you can see that. You can maybe see it here. It's not just through the exterior, but hopefully if you can see here, it's also, there you go. Yeah, you can see that. You can see I riveted through the lining too to really just give it some strength. But I like to do that. If it was really comfortable that way. I didn't feel like they were going anywhere. They didn't slide off my shoulders at all. I do still have them they're removable here on the side. I normally don't do that because if I'm sewing them in, I guess with a backpack, I don't typically take the straps off like that. But when you're traveling internationally, and if you want to be able to take your bag off and not have it sitting on your lap because you don't want somebody to potentially come up and snatch it. If you never want to hang a bag off of the back of your chair. Just be aware of that. Don't ever hang a bag off of the back of your chair. That is gone in an instant, especially if you're in a high tourist area. But with this, you can undo this, put it between your feet, and wrap the strap around your chair or the table leg, something like that, and it's much more secure that way because it is not unheard of at all for people to just come and kind of grab your bag if you have it just sitting there. So that's why I did do it that way with this. And so, yeah, it's a nice, I think it's sort of an unassuming bag as well. It doesn't scream tourist necessarily. So I like that. So that was one bag I brought. And then for my purse, okay, there goes my Guardian. My purse, I brought with me the Gabriella by the Emporium. It is one where if you've made it, it does the pattern. First off, we'll have little cat ears. That's the sort of the intent. And you've got little cat face, and then you put a tail on the back. I clearly did not do that with this. I have not done a tutorial for how I've made this yet, and I will. I wanted to wait and see how I liked it because I'd made some tweaks for travel. The reason I thought this would be a great travel bag is because it has this flap right here. I'm normally not a flap person. I find they get in my way. It's like I just want to get in my bag. But when you're traveling, having something like that is definitely helpful. And this flap has a pocket, so you can go in here and it goes all the way down, all the way to the bottom here. This is great if you're traveling somewhere high touristy, you're on the metro, you're just maybe in an area outside by a museum, so you're a lot of people around there, you're taking photos. You can put your wallet, your phone, your passports, if you're having them on you, deep in there, and someone is not going to be able to reach and get it. So that alone was enough for me to say, yeah, I kind of like this. I like the size. It's neither too big nor too small. And then on the inside, it was kind of a blank canvas. It did come with a pocket because you can either turn it or do a drop-in lining. I do a drop-in. But because of that, I was able to add some things. Hold on, let me get some of the other stuff out. I can put a lot in here. Here's my husband's passport. Let's see. Here is my portable charger and the cord. Always have to have a pen. And yay, it's my little Mormino pen. I guess I've got an adapter here, and that looks like, oh no, I probably have more. Let's see, here are some boarding passes. Okay, lots of stuff. But inside, so I've got, hopefully you can see here, well, I put a flat zipper panel on, we'll see that in a minute, but there's a zipper panel right here. There, you can see that. I also put on the other side a slip pocket, which, let's see, it's hard to see because I made it so it goes really high up, but there's a slip pocket. And then again, per the pattern, there is a pocket right here. So this back flap creates a pocket, and that's another great place to put things if you need to. I also added an additional pocket on the back right there with a magnetic snap. Oh gosh, look, more cables. And so clearly I haven't taken anything out since we got back on Monday. We got back Monday. Sorry. Today's Saturday, got back Monday. Still out of it. But yeah, so this served me super well. And as I said, I did also put a zipper panel on the top like this to help really keep things in there. I love this. I absolutely loved using this as a travel bag. And I am 100% going to do a tutorial for this. I probably will cut out the materials this weekend to show some of the modifications I made for this, because I think this really turned out to be a great, great travel bag. I think you can have a lot of fun dressing it up. It doesn't necessarily scream tourist. Fact is, we're going to look like a tourist most likely when you travel, so don't get too worked up over that. But it's still nice to not have something that just like, woohoo, you know, where they can zero in on it. It was comfortable. It had plenty of room for things. I had lots of pockets, some of the key things that you need for travel. So this was great. This was absolutely wonderful. So as I said, I'm going to have a tutorial for this so you can see some of those. So those are the things that I took, and I really was overall very happy with them. Let me sort of move some of that out of the way. Okay. So let's talk about why I really liked all of these and what goes into a travel bag that I think makes it, you know, the good features that you need, the essential features. And I think for any travel bag, regardless of whether you're traveling domestically or internationally, really needs to have three key things. It needs to have good organization. The pockets that I mentioned. I mean, I showed you the pockets, and we'll talk about them. The more pockets you can have, well, even normally, can you have too many pockets? Probably not. But and yes, while you saw me take everything out, I clearly just dumped everything in there eventually. I did have places for things. I knew my lip balm was always going to be in a certain pocket. I knew my pen was always going to be somewhere. I tended, if I was putting my phone inside, I always knew where I was going to put it. And that just made it easier when I wanted to reach in and get things. So organization, super, super important. The second thing will be comfort. Comfort is really something to think about. I mean, and I don't know how often we think about that with our bags, but when you're traveling, you're probably going to be carrying either your backpack or your crossbody bag or your sling, whatever it is you're using, on you a lot. And so you want to think about, how comfortable is it? Is this heavy? Does it have a webbing strap that might cut into my neck? That is terrible if that happens. And so you really want to consider comfort and the materials you're using to make a bag. And I'll talk about that in a second. And then the last thing I think which is really important is safety and security. You want to know that someone isn't going to be able to very easily get into your bag. As I mentioned, pickpockets, they really are artists at what they do. They are good. They've got different ways to distract you and get into your bag so that you don't even notice that they've done it until everything's gone. And this can happen both to tourists and to people who live in these cities as well. I mean, I've seen when we were planning a trip to Spain, and I was planning some of that and watching a video with this couple where the wife, she's from Madrid, she's a Spaniard, and talked about how, yeah, she just didn't even think about it. One day she noticed things were gone. So it can happen to anybody, but tourists are obviously going to be targeted more than anybody. And so you want to try to have features in your bag that are going to help prevent that. And so I'll talk about some of those things. So let's first talk about organization. Organization, I think, is super, super important to just help keep things compartmentalized, can talk. And so this was a great one, as I said, to use. I loved all of the pockets that I had. I loved, and including some that I added. I really did like having this one here. So if I was somewhere where I knew I was going to be taking my phone in and out regularly, I could just slip it in there, but with the magnetic snap, in case I maybe had it in there for a little bit longer. I don't know, it just, wasn't going to fall out very easily. So I really loved all of the features to this. Other ones you could, types of purses you can look at would have that. And the other one that I use pretty regularly is the one with More Me Know. This is my Disney version. And I say version because I have, let's see, I have them actually very, very close by. I probably have 5 or 6 of these right now. One of them was gifted. The rest of them I made. No, I have another one back here somewhere. Yeah, it really is a great travel bag. It's so, it's just, I like the form factor. having it pretty much square. It already has a number of pockets per the pattern. So we've got this front zipper pocket. Again, I wouldn't put anything of value in there. So feel free to have fun with your zipper pull. I mean, if somebody goes into it, who cares if they're only going to find, you know, tissue. But it's great to have something like that. I also like this pocket here, which, oh look, here's another boarding pass from the last time I traveled to Disney. So that's another great place. And then it also has this pocket on the back that's all per the pattern. I like on my Gabriella, I put a snap there. And if I didn't say, sorry, this is Sincerely Jen Patterns. And then inside, I put a recessed zipper panel. That's not per the pattern, but I do add that because I like that additional security. And then inside, I've got, in this version, sorry, I always have so much stuff. It does come with a zipper pocket because you have to berth it. So there is a zipper pocket. But I also add, and let's see how well you can see it. On one side of this one, I added a clear slip pocket for fun. And then I added a cargo zip pocket on the other side, which I don't know how well, let me see. Yeah, you can sort of see that. This is a great travel bag. As I said, I've got a non-Disney version, which I've used a lot as well. It's just so easy to put things in and out. Depending on the size of your tablet, I fit my tablet in here as well. So sometimes when I travel on the plane, I don't even bring a carry-on with me. If it's a short trip, I have my phone, I have my wallet, I have my tablet, I have what I need here. And so that makes it makes it so much faster if you don't have to worry about any bags. And so I love this bag for travel, because I've got a number of them. The other one that you could do, it's also Sincerely Jen pattern, is the Gunther. Pretty sure that's right. Yeah, it's the Gunther. It's big. I made it at, that was not at this year's, I think that was last year's summit at So Whatever Studios at More Me Know, taught by Brittany from the Emporium. And it would also be a great travel bag. So definitely think about that one as well. Another one you could do, or another style you could use, and I'm going to pull out one from, oops, here we go. This is Country Cow Designs. This is it was a collaboration between Country Cow and the Bed Hog Shop. So was this the Ojima? It's Amy and Joe backwards. That part I remember. I made this version, in fact, right here for that trip to Spain I was talking about. And so what's great about this bag, or anyone that's like this, or a Rosa has a number, which I've gusseted tops like this, is the fact that you are entirely enclosed here. I mean, this is, you know, there's no way anything is going to slip out of this unless you open it. This bag, this version right here, I mean, this is all per the pattern, has this magnetic snap pocket here, so it's a great place to just stick little things. Has another one on the back, so again, place to put your phone maybe while you're just walking around and you're not concerned. But then on the inside, I've got a zipper pocket. Let's see if I can show you this one. It's wax canvas, so it's a little stiffer. I've got a zipper pocket here and a zip pocket, or slip pocket right here. It's a great little bag. And this one, I didn't have the little locking zipper pulls, but if I did now, or if I did, I'd use it now. Frankly, if you're concerned about anyone getting into it, you could just use a little travel lock. That's another thing you can use. It's a pain to have to unlock it, but keeps it locked. So this is another great kind of style. Anything that's gusseted and zips up entirely. It's going to keep everything organized in there as well. Nothing's going to fall out. So those are some of the things that I look for from an organizational perspective. Those features of lots of pockets. The second thing that I mentioned was comfort. You really want to ensure that the bag you've got isn't too heavy and has a strap that's going to be comfortable on your neck. And so, for instance, we'll just start with this one since it's in my hand. It's not heavy at all. It really isn't. Even if I load it up, it's not going to be that heavy. I've got cork, which is a light material. I've used, what did I use inside? I'm sure it's just waterproof canvas. Yeah, just waterproof canvas. And then this wax canvas. So that itself is not going to be very heavy. The strap is, I can see at least the pink on the back. It's a double. I used webbing for both the front and the back. I'm not sure where I got the webbing on the front. I can't tell based on it. The webbing on the back, I can tell this is Georgia Girl stitches. I love Georgia Girl stitches for solid color webbing. And it's soft, and you can probably even see how it's, I don't know, it's maybe curling a little, which I actually don't mind. You know, if you want your strap, oops, hold on, to always be nice and flat, then maybe what I've done here won't be great, but I like that. I like the way it is because it was really soft against my neck, so I could just wear it here, and if it went across my neck, it was great. So that's something to consider. You know, how does the strap feel against your neck? So I've got this one. This one here, Yeah, same thing. I can see I used vinyl on the front and more of that. If this is black Georgia Girl stitches, webbing on the back. This one, I also used a lot of either waterproof cotton, a little bit of vinyl, just a little bit. But the material here is, I believe it's, I'll find it, it's a Luxe vinyl from Wonderground Fabrics. I really like it. It's very light. As you can see, it's just very collapsible. It's not super stiff. No interfacing there. I think it makes it really great for a travel bag. And I will admit, I don't know what's the front or the back when I used it. I picked the side for the exterior, which I thought looked good. This was great because this material is so light. This bag is super, super light and very easy then to wear. The strap is still comfortable, very light. So think about that when you're wearing it. My Gabriella, now you can see this one. I did use vinyl. My strap is all vinyl. I do have some waterproof cotton here and it's lined with waterproof canvas. So the vinyl will make it a little heavier. I mean, not a ton heavier, but it will be a little bit heavier. The strap is a little bit thicker, but for this, I was using, this is Obsidian Black. I had to think about what this black is. This is the Obsidian Black vinyl. It's currently out at Warmy Now. Let's hope that it comes back. Okay, Lauren, we need this back. This is fabulous, fabulous vinyl. I love this. It looks similar to the black rubber boots. I did use, in fact, black rubber boots on my Guardian because it was similar in the look of it. The black rubber boots, I feel, was a little stiffer, which is great. I mean, it was great for that backpack. I'm glad I used this softer Obsidian for this bag. So it has a little more squish to it, which is great for travel. The strap, because I use that soft vinyl, was so nice against my neck. So that's just one thing I can say. This was the best strap that I've had. Maybe it takes a little more to put together, but it was really, really quite comfortable. And as I said, I don't know that this was really that much heavier. Yes, it's a little bit heavier than that Disney one, probably about the same weight as the one that I had out of wax canvas and the cork, but that's something to consider. If whatever materials you're using, don't make your bag too heavy, because even if your strap is great, if your bag is heavy and then you're going to weigh it down with things on the inside, you're just going to be dragging. Your neck is going to be sore. So consider that. Consider the materials you're using. So the last thing I mentioned was security. You want to ensure that your bag is made so that somebody can't just get their hand in. You want to feel that your contents are safe and you're not going to worry about having lost your passport. Now, one thing which is not related to bags, but just to keep in mind when you're traveling, have copies. You can have both printed copies if you need of your things like your passport, or as long as you can get to the cloud, have digital copies. I didn't travel with printed copies of our passports this time. I do have them saved out to the cloud. I have an account where I've got copies of them there. So if I needed to pull them up, I could. I did bring printed copies of our travel insurance just in case I needed that for any reason, because that's something where you don't want to have to try to find that. But just a little aside there, bring some copies of things. But otherwise, from a security perspective, let's look at what I did to this bag to try to make myself feel a little more secure with it. As I said, part of the reason I chose it was because of this flap right here. It goes all the way down. I didn't have to make any modifications to it because of that. And because everything is down here, but the zipper's here, I could use pretty zipper pulls. There was no concern about somebody accidentally opening them. I would notice if they had undone it, opened it up, put their hand down. I mean, there's no way to get around that. So that was a fabulous feature of this one here. I added this pocket on the back. I said with the magnetic snap. That's to help a little bit. If I were somewhere like on a metro, I would not put my phone in there. I would put my phone in there if I was in an area that wasn't as crowded, and I still wanted it to be safe, but I wanted to be able to get to it easily. So that's why I have this, because you'll be in all sorts of situations. Inside, as I said, I put on this zipper panel, and I kind of guessed at what the length should be, and it was perfect. So I'm gonna have to make sure I measure and note that for next time, because you'd have to be a child. And I hate to say this, there are times in certain places where children are used to try to help distract you or to go through your bags because their hands are small, so just be aware of that. But it really would be hard to get your hand in here at the end. This is the end side where the zipper pull is located, or sorry, my zipper end. Here's the end. It'd be very hard. And what I did for the zipper pull side, so you'll see here, hopefully you can see, I used just a pop tab zipper pull. Hopefully you can, might be hard to see. There it is. There we go. Pop tab zipper pull. But what I did, in case I felt the need, I put inside my bag, let me see, a 1/2 inch swivel clip right here. And it's just sewn into the seam. And that way, if I wanted to, you could use it for keys. I mean, that's what a lot of us think about. But, let me get this out. I could clip it onto, there we go, onto that tab right there. And that way, you're not going to be able to open it, really. So I do that now in any bag that I'm making where I'm potentially using it for travel. So that's something you consider. You can consider right there. So I've done it for that one. I haven't done it on this Disney one, but I have done it in other ones as well. That's a new thing that I'm doing. Anything that I'm making specifically for travel, I'm going to sew into the seam somewhere in there, wherever it makes sense. On the end where it closes, just a small swivel, small 1/2 inch swivel clip. Very short piece of webbing that I use. You don't want it to be long because then they could unzip it. So a short piece of webbing, and that way I use a pop tab pull and I can close it that way. So I will do that. I think that's an essential thing there. Obviously, if you have, I mentioned before, a bag that is fully gusseted on the top, you are going to be even more secure than with those. I would still do something here. So as I said, if you've got the latching zipper pulls, you're great. Another thing you could use is this. I think it was called like a double carabiner. I don't know how well you can see that. There we go. I did find a link for it before, and I put it in my Guardian video, I believe. I'll put it in again. This way you can just sort of latch it onto both. I use this, and I mentioned it in the Guardian video, I believe. I did use this once on my Guardian, and I think just from sort of jostling it around, it eventually fell off. So I think you do want to be careful with it. But you could use that. You could also, frankly, use a gate ring. And this one, and you can get them smaller than this too, but you could use a gate ring. And I mean, yes, it's not a lock, but the thing about to consider with pickpockets, it's not so much locking things. It's a matter of making it challenging. The more challenging it is to get into anything, the better, or better for you. And so you can see that would work, and that's an easy enough thing to get on and off. You could even, if you wanted to really ensure it's kind of there, you can, whatever kind of connector you're using, latch it onto that too. And speaking of that, what you could also do, I did pull out a little 1/2 inch D-ring, or swivel clip, sorry. You could sew somewhere along here, right around where maybe your connector is, figure out how you could do it, a swivel clip. Maybe it's on the side, but then it can latch on. That's what some of the bags that you could buy online, they'll have something like that. So you could do that. I mean, that'll help keep it closed. So little things that you can think about there if you wanted to ensure that your zipper on any bag is really nicely closed. The other thing to keep in mind will be your straps. I know some of those bags that you can buy online, they've got like wire mesh sort of sewn into the bag to keep it slash proof and slash proof straps. I'm not making any modifications for that. Frankly, if I'm in a place where somebody's got a knife and they're going to slash it, I'm not going to worry too much. It's okay. Put your stuff in a pocket on the inside. That's another reason, though, if they were to slash the bottom of your bag, have everything in a pocket so it's not just going to drop out. But I'm not getting as worked up over that. What I do want, though, is to make it so that people can't just take my bag right off of my shoulders. So in this one, I did sew the strap in entirely. That meant when it was around when I was wearing it, there was no way to unhook it. So I did that. On the one I made right now, sorry, a little itch on my nose, I have it attached, fully attached on one side. So you can see no swivel clip, just a rectangle ring. And I have a swivel clip on this side. I did that very deliberately so that if I were somewhere, let's say I was sitting at a table outside at a cafe, or just, maybe I'm sitting at a bench for a little while and wanted to take it off. I mean, I'm probably going to put it in my lap. If I'm on a bench, I'll probably do that. If I'm at a restaurant, I might do that still, but I don't know that I want to have to do that. Carry it on my lap the whole time. There are different ways you can do it. I mean, you never want to put it on the back of your chair. Probably mentioned that already. That's just a target. I might put it between my legs at my feet, but somebody could still come up and grab it. And so with this, because one side is still attached, I can unhook it, wrap it around the leg of my chair, wrap it around the leg of the table, wrap it around my leg. And that way it is so much secure. The thing to keep in mind with this, if you're going to do that, is the side of your bag where you're going to put that. And this also is true for the side of your bag where you have your zipper closing. Whenever we make bags, we tend to do it so they close to the left. I mean, it's just sort of naturally how we do that. I mean, the patterns are often written that way. You can have them close any direction you want, but it's something to consider if you're using this for travel. And in fact, I asked on, I think it was on the So Whatever Facebook group, I put a poll out. Do you wear your bag on your left or your right side if you carry a cross body? You know, some people said, well, I'm right-handed, so it's on my right side. Well, I have to say, I'm right-handed. It's on my left side. That's where I like it. I like it on my right shoulder over to my left side. And some people said both directions. If you wear it both directions, it doesn't matter for you. If you wear it always on one side in particular, think about that side, because you don't want it so that your zipper is opening behind you. You also don't want it so your swivel clip is behind you. So I wear it on my left side. I made this closing to the left, and when I put it on over my right shoulder, the zipper is right here. So it's perfect for me. If somebody wanted to try to unzip it, they'd have to come from the front. If I wore this on my right shoulder, or I'm sorry, on my right side, this way, well, one, now the zipper is way back here. And even if you're holding it somewhat close to the front of you, it's still behind you. I would never want, okay, there we go. I would never want the opening to my bag to be behind me. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're making a crossbody specifically for travel and you carry your bag on your right side, you might want to flip it so your zipper closes in the other direction, just so that it is in the front when you're doing it. Same thing if you decide to make your strap so that one side is reversible, or not reversible, I'm sorry, removable. Have it so that it's the side where you're closing your zipper panel. So your swivel clip, your zipper to open and close, they should both be on the same side. But think about how you're wearing it. So as I said, you want it to be closest to you all the time. And so just something to consider. So those are some of the things that I just thought I'd point out, the things that I find that are sort of important for me when I travel. I am 100% going to make some more for this bag here. And as I said, I'm going to do a tutorial. I really like how my pocket worked here. This was a completely new addition, not part of the pattern. I probably would make it a little thinner. It was thick sewing this on, I gotta say. So I'll make some tweaks before I do the video for it. Sort of think about what would I do there. But this was just such a great purse to use. I can't stress enough how much I really liked using this. Otherwise, the one with Mormino, fabulous. Look, sorry, I'm just noticing because I can see my tablet. Look at this mess here. Let's hold some stuff up so it doesn't look quite so bad. There we go. Or we'll hold this up. There, that looks prettier. Now you can't see the mess that's currently my cutting table. Sorry. You can see I've got projects back there. But yeah, this is also just great bag. Can't stress enough how the one with Mormino is a fabulous bag to use for travel as well. So hopefully you found this, and we'll cover up some of the mess. Some of the mess here, interesting. Thanks for joining. If you liked it, please click on like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.
I'm recording.